Okay, hi, welcome, and a very good morning to my friend, my lecturer, Professor Azullah binti Abdul Kasim. We are Group 2. My name is AMIRUL Muhammad Hanif. My metric number is 26761. So, our topic today is about limits of acceptable change, or also known as LAC. Alright. Let's go deeper and more detail about LAC. What is LAC? What is the components of LAC? What is the definition of LAC? Let's go down and we learn something new today. And hopefully we learn something new today. So the first one is the definition. The definition of acceptable change, LAC. Limits of acceptable change are defined as it is the degree of change or impact that will be tolerated for the resource in use. It implies the preliminary process of defining the desired resource conditions and the consequent action necessary to maintain or achieve them. The variation that is considered acceptable in a particular component or process of the ecological character of the wetland, without indicating change in ecological character that may lead to a reduction or loss of the criteria for which the site was Ramsar listed, modified from definition adopted by Phillips 2006. So, what is definition? What is LAC exactly? So, LAC uh, is more focused on qualitative, meaning it is focused more on quality of the places of the destination itself. If it get too crowded, it will become uh, more messy, and also it will ruining the destination, and uh, will make more pollution to the destination visitor that visit the destination. So next is definition of carrying capacity, or known as CC. Basically, carrying capacity is the turning point when a destination or an area start to fall in adverse condition as a result of the number of visitors coming. The maximum number of people that may visit a tourist destination at the same time without causing destruction of the physical, economic, socio-cultural environment, and unacceptable decrease in the quality of visitor satisfaction by World Tourism Organization. The adverse condition can be in terms of its natural environment, the life of local people, or the satisfaction of tourists themselves. The level of human activity an area can accommodate without the area deteriorating, the resident community being adversely affected, or the quality of visitor experience declining, by Middleton and Hawkins Chamberlain, 1997. So, in this chapter, carrying capacity, it is the meaning of carrying capacity itself is about uh, quantitative the amount of visitors coming to this destination. It will become more crowded. If more visitor than the place itself can carry, it will be crowded, it will be messy, it will be it will be the satisfaction of the place of the visitor that coming to the destination, it will become less. It will become much lesser. It will feel uncomfortable to coming to such a crowded place. So I can give an example, a simple example. If you go to a kitchen, the kitchen can only carry the capacity of a human, only 4 people. So if we go to the kitchen, like 8 people, so it will become crowded. you cannot cook, you cannot do anything. It's very crowded with people. So the kitchen, you will feel you don't want to cook anything. Just want to go out from the kitchen and do something else. That is the meaning of carrying capacity. So let's take a look into much deeper. Why carrying capacity is related with LC? What is the relation of it? So next is why carrying capacity related with LAC? So we put it as a short form, okay? Carrying capacity is CC and limits of acceptable change is LAC. So the first one, CC and LAC both deal with undesirable impact of a tourism area utilization. They both set standards on how a tourism destination or area should be managed to maintain sustainable state. The third one, together they both help the stakeholder to take action in such adverse effect. And the last one, they are based on human judgment. Alright, the next one is difference between carrying capacity and limits of acceptable change, LAC. The concept as CC basically a measure where LAC involves the whole process to define desired resource condition. CC deals with quantitative measure, like I said before. Uh, Deal with quantitative measure. It measure quantity of uh, the quantity of human, while yet LAC focus on qualitative factor like the satisfaction if a visitor going to somewhere beautiful, like example, in an island, if there is some very crowded, it's very crowded, you become less satisfaction that coming to the visitor itself. It feels like, oh my god, I have chose the wrong place to release all my tension, to release all my stress, going to a crowded area. So CC deals a number, whereas LC deals impact. Alright, last one. Four major components of the LAC process. The first one is the specification of acceptable and achievable social and resource conditions, an understanding of the relationship between existing conditions and those judged acceptable, identification of management action which will assist in achieving these conditions. And the last one is the monitoring and evaluation of effectiveness program by Stanky ETAL 1985. So that is my part. My partner will continue more about LAC and something related to LAC also. So I will pass down to my partner. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum and hello to my lecturer and my friends. First of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Nick Muhammad SYARIMAN bin HILMI 267693 from Group 2. Today, I would like to present briefly about what are the content in LAC. So, what are the 9 processes in LAC planning system? So the first step is identify area concerns and issues. Uh, the purpose of this step is to identify the features of concern to be maintained or achieved. Identify specific locations of concern, provide a basis for establishing management objectives, guide allocation of the protected landscape to different opportunity classes. So the next step is define and describe opportunity classes. The purpose of this step is to devise a range of different opportunity classes where an opportunity class provides a qualitative description of these kinds of resources and social conditions acceptable for that class and the type of management activity considered. Uh, this will facilitate the provision and maintenance of inter and intra diversity within the protected landscape. So the next step, select indicators of resource and social conditions. So this step identifies specific variables which require inventorying and monitoring. For example, let's say vegetation damage, soil erosion, amount of infrastructure, crowding, and to provide the basis for identifying what management actions are required. So the fourth step, inventory resource and social conditions. During this step, data is collected on the range of resources and social conditions that will help establish meaningful standards and help decisions on allocation to different opportunity classes. The fifth step specifies standards for resource and social indicators. So the fifth step involves the specification of standards that describe acceptable and appropriate conditions for each defined opportunity class. Next step is identify alternative opportunity class allocations. So in this step uh, involve examining options to help define what conditions are acceptable in terms of the resource and social conditions. The seventh step is identify management actions for each alternative. So this one, the range of management strategies that would be required for each alternative opportunity class are examined, which will help determine which are viable. So let's move on to the next step. Step 8, evaluation and selection of an alternative. So this step involve finalizing opportunity class allocations on and the preferred management program. So in the final step is implement actions and monitor conditions. During this step, the management program is implemented to achieve the objectives set in the step 8. So the monitoring ensures periodic systematic feedback on how the management action is working. It also identifies trends or variances that may require the introduction of new actions. So, factors to be considered while implementing the LAC. The first factor is assess the likely impact of an activity on destination. Let's say they must try to do some analysis if there are any effect if the LAC are applied in the area. In response to threats and impacts observed, the management plan attempts to provide management that will allow for the maintenance of wilderness character. It attempts to strike a balance between recreational use and wilderness preservation. So the next factor is monitor the industry on a regular and systematic basis. Environmental monitoring describes the processes and activities that need to take place to characterize and monitor the quality of the environment. Environmental monitoring is used in the preparation of environmental impact assessments, as well as in many circumstances in which human activities carry a risk uh, of harmful effects on the natural environment. So the third factor decides what actions will be taken if toleration standards are exceeded. So the role of government can enforce environmental law that encompassing aspects of the law that provide protection to the environment. Nowadays, people are not following the rule, so serious actions could be taken, focusing on the uh, management of specific natural resources such as forests, rivers, and mountains. The advantages of LAC implementation. The first advantage considers unique characteristics of an area. So there are many natural areas like mountains, rivers that are not explored yet by people. So the air in the area is still fresh. So the next advantage is a goal is set to attain specific conditions within a wilderness area. So it's the goal is to make the region where the land is in a natural state, where impacts from the human activities are minimal. So the next advantage is proactive management tool. Management actions must be defined before problem occurs. An environmental management system protects public health and safety by establishing procedures to limit and eliminate harmful substances from entering the environment. So the fourth advantage, the public participation throughout planning process. Public participation uh, is to create awareness among the public to conserve environment in the area to be not uh, be polluted. So there will be compromise between wilderness, recreational use, and preservation. So there will be win-win situation. At the same time, we care the environment and we care ourselves. Disadvantages of LAC implementation. The first one is may cause excessive capital intensive and take years to fully complete process and implement. So it is not undeniable that LAC process takes a longer time than expected because the process is hard and costly. So next one is monitoring may be time consuming and require extra staff. Yes, monitoring and surveying the large area would be challenging as this required more manpower to hire. This also will be costly. So the third one is reconciling different groups and interests may become difficult and complex. So to handle This may not be easy because they will be influenced by sociopolitics in an environment. Certain groups agree and disagree, making it difficult to unite. And it's also not useful in all scenarios, like actual or potential conflicts do not exist in management goals. The measurable standards cannot be developed, and the wilderness conditions require immediate management attention. For conclusion, the principle or concept of LAC is useful. However, the process of defining LAC can be challenging for a number of reasons. For example, there may be insufficient data, for example, inadequate data, data gaps, and absence of long-term data, which may mean that limits of stable change cannot be set for all parameters, and limited understanding of the natural variability of the site, including understanding of the natural dynamics, cyclical change, and seasonality. This may mean that a comprehensive understanding of site character may not be possible for all sites. So other than that, updating limits of stable change. So LAC can be updated as new or more information becomes available to ensure they more accurately reflect the natural variability around the time of listing of critical components. So uh, exceeding or not meeting limits of a stable change. So if a site has improved or has been restored as is being managed to maintain an improved baseline, it may be appropriate to review and update the limits of a stable change to ensure they reflect the new baseline. Given the challenges with setting limits of a stable change, exceeding or not meeting the LAC for any component may not necessarily indicate that there has been a change in ecological character for the whole site. However, uh, the LAC are the best way to preserve ecological area and prevent overcrowding of people that maximize the impact towards the environment. Before that, I will show you the example of the place that implementing the LAC